Hello everyone, welcome to this new video on how to write the perfect abstract. Now today I'm really promising to create a shorter video. I spent far too much time on the last videos. So in fact what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do some hacking of abstracts. I'm actually simply giving a short presentation based on the analyst slides, and the topic is, as I've said, how to create or write something which is coming close to the perfect abstract. So you can see the overview of the talk. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to motivate the importance of writing a good abstract. I will then explain what an abstract actually is, because there are different definitions around, and we're going to focus on a very simple academic abstract type. And then the key slide is this one here. So structure matters. I will explain my approach, my methodology for creating a good structure for an abstract, and then we will reflect on the writing process, when to do it, how to do it, and finally I will summarize and give you some homework for the next video. So in order to start, let's zoom into the first slide. So why is it important to have a good abstract, actually? Well, basically, people can tell by simply looking at your abstract the quality of your entire dissertation or research paper, because quite often the quality of the abstract is aligned with the quality of the entire thing. So it's really, really important to get it right. Now, how easy is it to actually write the abstract? Well, it's notoriously difficult. It's actually very difficult and time consuming to create a very good abstract. So we need to look into this. And how can we make it easier? So how are you going to do it? Well, it's important that you have a methodology, that you have actually a specific approach in place, which I'm going to teach you today, and that will help tremendously with the abstract writing. Yeah. So why should you now continue watching this video? Well, because I will actually explain it now how to do it. So let's briefly review some definitions of what an abstract actually is. Do you know what an abstract actually is? How would you define it? Basically, an abstract is nothing else than a short and concise summary of your entire content of the report or the article. And the problem here is at the same time it needs to be short, but also complete. You need to capture the main ideas and contributions in one short summary, and that's what makes it so difficult. There are actually different types of abstracts around. So today we'll talk about effectively a thesis or a paper abstract, but I'm mainly having the thesis abstract in mind for my audience. Paper abstract is quite similar. An extended abstract is something else, which is around in the world of publishing. It's kind of a longer summary. It's actually a short paper. We're not going to talk about that today. And then you might have come across an executive summary. Executive summary is, I would say, it's written by a technical person with a non-technical audience in mind. So where there's a clear difference between the audience and the writer. But so let's just focus on the simple academic abstract. So the main secret how to create a successful and great abstract is to follow some well-defined structure. And I'm recommending something very specific. So please pay attention very carefully now to this. So the structure actually does two things. Not only it gives you almost a guarantee for high quality of your abstract, but it also helps you. It's actually there to be really, really helpful. It will actually guide you through the writing process. So what I recommend is, and we can zoom in here, I recommend optional a motivation. This would be one sentence. I would say one sentence. Then we would continue with context and background. I would say 2 to 3 sentences. So we're going to define the area, the domain of what I'm going to talk about, the scientific kind of facts or terminology, or simply a description of the background, basically. And that should be about, I would say, and we can maybe put this somewhere, I would say 1/3 of abstract, roughly. Okay. And after your context background, you would do more than just 2 to 3 sentences, of course. I would just say 2/3 of the abstract. Yeah. So in total, we're probably aiming for something like 100 to 150 words in total. So total 100 to 150 words. Now it all depends. Sometimes you are given some guidelines of how much you have to write, but usually between 150 words is a good guideline. And then what you could do as well is you could optionally have a conclusion, maybe 1 sentence of conclusion. But really the main thing you definitely always have to have is that kind of division into the context and the contribution. It's very important that you do that. Okay. So now that we've clarified the structure, we want to briefly talk about how to actually write it. Okay. So when should you actually write the abstract within your report writing process? So clearly most of the time you're probably going to write it at the end, because only at the end you will clearly know what you have covered. But sometimes you can also do it differently. I mean, if you are very experienced and you have clearly in mind what you're going to do, is you can write it at the beginning. Then it's almost like a specification. It can be quite useful. Or you do it at some point in the middle, and then it's important to keep it up to date as you go along, so you work in iterations. How would you write the abstract? Well, I would recommend content over format, so just focus on plain text, use a plain text editor, or even better, use a decent outlining tool such as the one I'm using here, which is Dynalis. There's Workflowy as well. They both have their advantages or disadvantages. They're both great tools to use for the abstract writing. And then what should you expect? How long should it take? It will take some time. It will take a considerable amount of time. I mean, I have spent literally hours on drafting and finalizing and sort of really, getting the perfect look of the abstract. And basically you run out of steam when you try to do it at once. So really you should work in iterations. You do a first draft, send it to someone, maybe to your collaborators or your supervisor, or you look at it the next day with fresh energy. And so you will over time keep refining the abstract. That's the best way to proceed. Okay, guys, so we're almost there. In summary, so I have told you that writing a great abstract is really necessary for creating a good paper or thesis that appeals to the reader. And we have focused on a simple academic abstract type. Maybe in the future we'll cover other types of abstracts. But really the main thing is to get the structure right. If your structure is well defined, then it's basically the main thing to get the abstract right. And you can write the typo, you can write the abstract at different times during your writing process using different tools. But really you should get used to work in iterations. So you start quick and dirty with something, just jot down your notes and then your thoughts, and then over time get it better and better. So now let's come to the homework. So the homework simply is, can you write an abstract for this talk? So follow my rules, follow my methodology, write an abstract, and then in the next video, I will actually give you the solution or a solution, because obviously there are different ways of doing it, but we will discuss that next time around. Thanks a lot, guys.